call out names and facilitate that, it would be helpful.
Yes, sure. So I'll start over with me. So hello all, hello sir. So this is Ashvik. So I've been associated with Phoenix since last 8 to 10 months professionally, and I've known Phoenix Global since last 6 years. Before it was a giant in the market. So I have been working in Rockwell Collins Aerospace as an associate software engineer since last 2 years, and I've graduated in 2018. So even I'm a CAT aspirant, even I'm a peer here. So my goal is to get into a good IIM and then later start my own my own company or business. So that's the end goal I have. So that's a short intro. So Aditya, can you please go ahead and give your intro?
Yeah, sure, Aspect. Hello, sir.
Hello,
Humble
Aditya.
welcome. I have a very, very humble welcome to our CAT aspirants group. And we hope to absorb as much as great exposure and information that you're about to give us. And speaking about myself, I'm Aditya Sharma, and I'm a graduate from Electronics and Communication Engineering from Geetham University, which is situated in Hyderabad. I have just got employed, so I'm a fresher. I'm a 2020 pass out, and I'm working in IT domain. Apart from that, I see VARC as one of the most interesting sections, and also I have a bit of edge over other sections as compared to VARC. So, so I like this pretty much. So I will be looking forward to maximize this as much as possible so that it turns out to be a good percentile for me.
Wonderful, Aditya, to have you on board.
Thank you, sir.
What about the others?
Anshula, can you go ahead?
Good evening, Hemant sir.
Good evening, Anshula.
I have a total 4 years of experience. Right now, I'm working in project management domain at BD Chandigarh.
Could you be a little loud for me, Anshula? I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Yeah, sure, I will. Is it I'm audible to you now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, sir, I'm just saying that I have total 4 years of work experience. And right now I am working in project management domain at BD Chandigarh office.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have done BTech from EC branch, 2016 pass out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think this is a wonderful group, exciting people to work with. And you all possess some degree of work X, it seems, most of you. So that will be another added advantage for cracking the final selection. So I'm looking forward to more productive engagements.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Anshula.
Okay, Janvi, can you go ahead?
Sure, thank you, Ashwin. Good evening, sir. This is Janvi, and I've done my engineering in electrical and electronics engineering, and I've been working with Accenture for the last 1 year as an application development associate.
Okay.
So I'm still working with Accenture now. So
okay.
That's it about myself.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Sure. Mandeep, can you go ahead?
Yeah, sure, Ashwik. Hello, Hemant sir. This is Manidip Chintaman. I am an undergraduate from Geetham University with computer science and engineering as my background. And since 1 year, I am working for Wipro as a project engineer in web development environment. And I am a CAT aspirant since last year. So I am looking forward to crack CAT this year.
Wonderful. I wish you all the best. So put in your efforts, and I believe this year it will prove to be successful.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
Prerit, next, can you go ahead?
Hello, Hemant sir. I am Prerit Ameta. I am currently undergoing my BE from BMSIT College, Bangalore in electrical and electronics domain.
Okay.
So this would be my first CAT time, and I just want to clear it in the first attempt itself. So that's all about me, and I find like VARC to be a little more difficult because I think that at some of part I lack in my vocabulary,
Okay.
So I want to improve it by myself. I'm also kind of reading newspapers as it was suggested. So I think it would help me. And also, since you are now on the board, you will also help us guide to achieve our goal.
Sure, I'll do that. And I think Pradeep, probably it could be partly because of your, I mean, I am seeing in this group a lot of engineers. So RCVA becomes a bit of problem for them. In general, maybe some of you are excelling in that department. But I will assume that this is one weak spot which needs to be worked on. So with this assumption, I try to clarify the basic concepts and how to apply them. Okay. Yes.
Spandana, can you go ahead?
Yeah, thank you. Hi, sir. This is Spandana.
Yes, you're welcome.
I am currently working with Accenture for the past 2 years.
Okay.
I have graduated from Electrical and Electronic Engineering from Geetham University.
Okay.
So coming to VARC, I think I find it a bit time consuming. Somehow I get to start enjoying the reader's view or whatever, and then I just forget answering the questions or something of that sort.
Okay.
So I get involved with the passage rather than the questions. So that's where I think most of the time is held up over there.
Spandana, let me put it like this. You are, while reading the passage, you are enjoying the passage.
Yeah,
which is a very wonderful sign. And it also indicates that you are absorbing the information. But somewhere while during the reading exercise, what you are doing is you seem to be focused on the current act of reading, and simultaneously you are not switching on your interpretation. I'll discuss it and how to overcome this problem. But then, of course, the utility of the reading is in zeroing down on the right responses to the questions that have been framed there. So we need to have that objective understanding that reading for reading's sake in the exam hall is not something which should be cultivated. Rather, you need to develop that killer instinct that once I will enjoy the reading, and I'll also kind of simultaneously interpret them so that I can zero down to the right response. Fine. So we'll proceed with that. And yeah, let me now meet some other people. Are there any left?
Yes, we have 2 more people, Trilok and then Uttam first. After
Okay.
Trilok, Uttam can go ahead.
Okay.
Hi, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
this is Trilok here. I'm a fresh graduate from Geetham University, Hyderabad, sir.
Okay.
I have pursued computer science engineering.
Okay.
I got currently placed in TCS company. Currently waiting for my joining letter.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I always had a dream to pursue my MBA from a premier B school. So that is why I'm here today. Hopefully, under your guidance, I'll make it someday.
I will say that the hope phase is over.
Yes.
Now the phase of conviction, action with conviction has begun, has commenced.
Yes, sir.
What you need to do is, your hope should now inspire purposeful activity around building up this particular section. So I'll give you some generalized tips about how to proceed further. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And how can you build up this particular section so that you can excel. Fine.
Yes, sir. Sure. Looking forward, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Trilok. Yes. I think
we have Uttam left.
Yeah, Uttam. Great, Uttam.
Yeah, hi, sir. This is Uttam Krishna.
Yes, Uttam.
I'm a fresh graduate from IIT Tirupati. I'm a fresh graduate from IIT Tirupati in mechanical engineering stream.
Okay.
As far as my strengths and weaknesses are concerned, I would say VARC my weakest section. because I found difficult in reading more lengthy passages and these things.
Okay.
I would so I hope I will utilize these sessions as much as possible to maximize my score.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Uttam. You kind of bang on. You've narrated your who, and I hope I can take care of it in the next few sessions that we're going to have. And I hope you'll be able to surge ahead and you'll find an organic understanding about how to proceed and how to solve questions with a killer instinct and solving them with a perfect 100 score. So with that, thank you very much. So I am looking forward to great sessions with you. I'm basically, let me put it like this. I hope I'm a bit of a contemporary of the old star who is called Salman Khan. I'm about his age, but I'm not been able to maintain myself physically, although currently he's under flak. So that means basically but I have kept myself intellectually alive, and I take all my training sessions with various corporate organizations, as well as I train students for CAT. Swash has already spoken about it. And I'm passionately into language, and I'll try to give my best to you. That's a promise. And I take a feedback after every session. So let us start with this session, and I will stop the video, and you can hear my voice. Meanwhile, I'll share. You have the PDFs with you, that material which was sent to you?
We will share that right now in the group, sir. They will be able to access it in 2 minutes.
Okay, fine. So what I'll do is now, I'll just put off the video and you'll be able to hear my voice. Fine. And we will take up, and I'll share. And since the material is with you, if you want, I can share it here. Otherwise, I'll just take on some concepts and that. Okay. So, okay. So let us look at this session 1, which is an introductory part. Basically, it is telling you what is reading comprehension. And it is underscoring the importance of developing this skill. And definitely, as you grow in the management hierarchy, you will be asked to read a lot of written material to form your conclusions, valid conclusions, and suggest or advise accordingly in the best interest of the company. what it is also saying is that because you'll be overburdened with a lot of reading stuff, you need to acquire skills to become a speed reader. Now, the pretty good speed would be around 400 words per minute. And of course, there are various techniques and methods of doing it. Just to give you an overview in brief, is that you can ignore reading a number of lines if you develop a sense, a hunch about what to read and how much to read. So that takes me into a creative sphere. See, any reading passage or any written work is based on a story. And the story unfolds with an introduction. So the first paragraph of a passage could be interpreted as a general introduction, which is trying to give you a general framework of the discussion that is lying ahead. It will give you a good grip over the subject matter, what is going to be dealt. It will also give you the approach of the author. Then the second clue is what kind of words or language, is being used. So this brings me to another concept, basically just trying to know how will you define a word. Anybody among the participants who wishes to answer this question can unmute and respond. My question that I'm throwing at you is, what is a word? You have grown up with a lot of words in the language. You know pretty good, you have pretty good vocabulary. But what is a word? What does a word do?
Can I?
Yes.
What I'm assuming is in the context of reading especially.
Yes.
Say excluding the conjunctive words or the words that are used like prepositions and conjunctions.
Yes.
That is what we conclude as words, like which actually try to portray the meaning or convey certain gist of the passage, or basically what I'm trying to say is trying to eliminate the extra words, the conjunction words kind of thing.
Okay, that is a strategy which you adopt. That is a strategy which you adopt to develop efficiency and speed. But my question was, what is a word? A word is actually a combination of sound, basically, linguistically. Now, as science students, we all know that the universe came with a bang. There was initial sound. And in the Sanatan Dharma tradition, Om is considered to be a primeval sound. It is a singular unity, if you look at it as a sound. But once you write it, it becomes two syllables. O and M, Om. So word cannot capture or cannot totally represent the reality as perceived by our five senses. So there is an inherent limitation of the word. There is a versatile power in the word. And at the same time, I'm trying to sensitize you towards its limitation. As long as it is in the sound form, Om is a singularity. As soon as you convert it and write into the form of a word, it becomes a duality. So this is at a very high level of language understanding, that words have this inherent limitation that they cannot express everything totally. And at the same time, they make a lot of sense about the reality that is around us. So basically what is happening in the brain is, when you hear a word, you try to disambiguate, which is basically like you're cleaning it up. When you slaughter an animal, you skin it off, you try to clean things, something like that. So when you hear a word, you try to filter it. And how does this filtration work? Yes, by the way, if anybody has a question, you can shoot that, unmute yourself, and you can shoot the question to me. But at the moment, I'm telling you that reading fast and accurately cannot be developed unless and until you know and you are quite consciously aware that words lend themselves to be used as per the preference of the author or as per his bias. And in order to assess the bias or the colored perception of the author, or you want to discover his roadmap, or you are aware about the milestones, what you do is you look at the context. Merely a word cannot help you to understand anything. There is a limitation. There is a duality. So what you need to do is, you need to know the meaning, but at the same time, you need to know the context. Because a word can have multiple meanings. And in what sense is the author using it? It depends on what kind of a context he is referring to. Am I clear? I need your response. Am I clear so far?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, pretty good. So basically, as it was told, that when you are reading, there is one is the author's style of writing. How does he construct his sentence? What are his biases and preferences? What kind of information is he sharing? So the topic, the writing style of the author, the structure of the argument that he's placing, all these become quite clear, amply clear at the very outset when you read the first paragraph. You can safely conclude about all these aspects that I have just shared. And of course, every sentence has a sentiment. Well, these are very advanced concepts of linguistics, which you need not delve into for your limited purpose of cracking CAT. But I mentioned it because what you do actually, practically speaking, when you're reading a passage, you're trying to understand the sentiment of the author. And the author is giving you clues. Whether he is supporting the thesis or the argument, or he is being critical of the argument, or he is maintaining a balance by giving pros and cons of the argument. So the first paragraph must be read carefully. And they must be chewed and digested. So, as it was told, what you need to do is you can safely, practically when you are reading a passage, complete passage, what you can do is you can ignore the conjunctions, the prepositions, or the articles. That in itself will reduce the load by around 30 to 35%. You can still further reduce the load. But we will not discuss that aspect at the moment. It is slightly premature. So, one is that you realize that the first paragraph is the most crucial indication about how and what is going to be discussed by the author. And once you have identified the topic that he is going to deliberate or that he is going to talk about in the successive paragraphs, you're fine. You have got an idea of the landscape. It's a macro view. Now, as you might have read this note, that what you are expected to do is to read anything between 2,500 to 5,000 words and answer anything between 20 to 25 questions. So that means every 200 words, on an average, maybe slightly less, there is a question that is pegged with it. And although the current format of exam gives you enough time, the time pressure is not enormous. Unlike the time when I was taking CAT, around, let's say, 15 years back, when there was enormous pressure, there were more number of passages, more questions to be dealt with, and there was less time. Today, the format is more student-friendly, gives you a fair chance. Regardless of whether you have your set of competencies or not, but if you really work hard, you can develop these competencies for sure. So I will not shed light on the aspect of time limitation, but what I am more concerned is that if your task is to cover around 5,000 words, and if you have got a speed of, supposing you develop a speed of say 400 words, you would be essentially take about 12 minutes at least in reading the passage. So if you eliminate this burden by making your 5,000 word task to say 3,000 or 3,500 words, you gain in terms of efficiency as well as accuracy. And that is of a substantial importance, your accuracy. Of course, your choice also matters. How precise you are and how do you select. There is a pattern of your thought, and that pattern gets reflected in your attempts, in your choices, and this reflects basically what kind of a person you are. So they have, I mean, they can zero down, anybody can look at your answers and look at and interpret you as also an individual. So what you need to develop is information sensitivity. For example, what do I mean when I refer to information sensitivity is that supposing I tell you, I give you a sentence, the bull is in the field. I repeat, the bull is in the field. Now, if you are reading this sentence sitting in your classroom, it does not affect you. You just read it as a matter of fact. You're not emotionally involved in that, and you just know that, yes, okay, this is a fact, give it to me. But if the context was different, if you're sitting in that field and you saw a bull charging in that field at you, or it is charging anything which is moving on the field, you'll be scared to death. The context has changed. Your emotional reaction is changing. So what I would suggest is that it underscores while reading, the reader must emotionally tune into the passage. That will facilitate understanding and comprehension. And added with this, the strategy of dropping unnecessary reading. The first part is, of course, it has 2-3 steps. I'm going to talk about only the first step today. What you need to do is you can drop conjunctions, articles, preposition, because they will not add any further to the meaning that you need to know. It will not affect your interpretation. Is this part of this particular segment of the lecture understood and appreciated by all the participants? Can I get your response?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
fine.
Sir, I just have one doubt.
Yeah.
It is a problem with me. Usually it happens. I gave my cat 2 years ago already.
Okay.
But then I face this problem with RC, as in I have an issue in understanding the perspective of the author in a comprehension.
Okay. You have a problem with that.
Yes, yes. I mean, I just feel, after reading the comprehension, I won't be able to answer the questions.
Okay. But why is that? Why is that?
I don't really understand why that
Okay.
happens.
Yeah. No, if you introspect a bit, if you push yourself a bit over the cliff,
Okay.
you will realize that you are too rigid in your approach. You are not letting yourself flow with that creative discourse that is being laid out as a feast.
Okay.
You get my point, what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes, yes.
You need to let your hair loose and with an abandon, enjoy the passage as it is and kind of partition away your personal preferences, biases, and not becoming judgmental.
Okay.
Don't assume that I agree or I disagree. Drop that. See, basically what happens, You are Spandana, no? Spandana.
I'm Janvi.
Yeah, Janvi. Very beautiful name, Janvi. What does this name mean?
Jahnavi is actually a name of Ganga, one of the names of Ganga.
Oh, very good.
From
Beautiful.
the story of Bhagirath Prayatna.
Okay. Okay. So beautiful. Huh? You are the elixir of India, I would say. So, uh, so Janvi, you know, basically what happens is, see, sometimes we become over conditioned by our perspective. Sometimes, because of our life experiences, we learn that it is better to be rigid in our approach. Now, it is not a judgment on your thought process.
No, I'm not taking it that way.
Yeah. So please try to interpret it in the context of a task which has to be accomplished with within a certain limited time and with 100% accuracy, so that your objective is achieved.
Sure.
So if you look at it from that perspective, it could be, I don't know, I mean, I'm just suggesting to you to explore dangerously. What is that which is preventing you from total absolute understanding? So one thing I'm suggesting is that it could possibly be because of your own personal background or a certain pattern of thought or ideology or framework that you have developed, and something does not come up to that level, then your interest waves and your attention and your concentration wavers, and that affects your comprehension. It is a possibility. I'm not saying that this is certainly the case. It is, but definitely a possibility. So you need to explore subconsciously what is happening, right? Am I forming my opinion about the author or the piece or the topic prematurely? Somewhere, even I've just started, read 3 lines, and I've decided that I don't agree and it is all bullshit. Right? That could also be one possibility. So what an ideal reader does is he suspends his judgment. He does not judge the article. What he does is he may agree and disagree, but he does not let that contaminate his process of understanding. So it is like getting into the shoes of others, right?
Yes.
And philosophically speaking, it means reading with a sense of empathy. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, see, there is something called, let's say, there is something called, there is a technical term which I wanted to avoid, but let me use it because I'm struggling to find a substitute word. See, the brain has a certain structure. Okay. The synaptic nerves, the synapses that are made between 2 nerves, there is a short distance between these 2. And information comes in packets. So it's like a circuit. So from one nerve end, that information packet jumps across a gap and enters into the connecting next nerve. And therefore, all your complex behavior, your act of coordination, understanding, basically requires that your brain circuit with multiple centers, say memory is one center, vision is another, smell is another center in the brain, and they connect with each other. But a good efficient reader has a thicker network many of the centers are connected in various combinations with each other. Now, this is a thick network and mesh network of connections, and this requires you to work out your muscles. And by muscles, I mean your brain nerves. And this has been seen, actually. There are practical experiments which have demonstrated the scientific truth that people who live a more diverse life are open to change and accept diversity, possess greater amount of intelligence and as well as emotional intelligence. So that is why an Indian is perceived abroad as a very intelligent, hardworking fellow. All thanks to the diversity that we have. And all great thinkers of this country have always recommended to the youth that you should travel on foot across the length and breadth of this country and absorb the monumental diversity that prevails. And yet the spirit of coexistence. Why has this been recommended? A scientific reason is that this is going to affect your perspective and it will broaden your vision. And therefore it is important to open up to different experiences of life. Unfortunately, in academia, when you are there, you are exposed to a particular branch or rather you get overexposed to it. So you develop a certain rationale and a certain logical structure, in your brain. And then you are being asked to do very well in your reading comprehension, where you have an array of topics so diverse and demanding interpretation of various kinds. So this is very difficult to kind of, I would say it's very difficult to gain that edge. Therefore, the next point that I'm recommending to you is to develop the habit of reading diverse topics or subjects or books. If you're an engineering graduate, you must read a book on art and culture. If you are an engineering guy, you must read a lot of stuff on philosophy and spirituality, or on history and economics. Now that exposure over a relatively, say, 4 to 5 months time is bound to get leveraged during your exam. So given the time frame that you have, and if you're a mercenary, you're very professional, and you go about this task very professionally, that okay, reading comprehension is my Betanoir, it can prove to be my Waterloo. So you tend to give a priority. And when you give the priority to reading exercise, the first thing that you must do is expose yourself to diversity of opinion and ideas and concepts. So being someone from a very logical sphere of knowledge, you need to gear into something soft. So art, culture, music, you need to cover reading material on these topics. Am I? Have you been able to understand the arguments that I have given so far?
Yes, yes.
So you are flowing with me.
Yes.
Okay. What about the rest? The rest are keeping mum. I'm yet to hear hear anybody else say that whether they are following me or not.
Yeah, we do follow, sir.
We are
Yeah.
following, sir.
Yeah, because if you give me a constant feedback, you're basically going to act as a successful manager. The manager always needs to motivate his people around whom he has got to get the work done. So if I'm doing this work, I need to get a feedback, an instant feedback on my performance. So I have come here with this idea that I'm going to help you and help you with the best advice and with the best techniques or concepts that I am capable of giving. So sometimes I'm going to ask in between the discussion or the talk that whether you're able to get the gist of my argument or not. Okay. So you read the first paragraph to get an idea about the total framework of the discussion that is lying ahead in successive paragraphs. Now the next task is, and assuming that you have already reduced your reading load or burden by 1/3 by eliminating reading conjunctions, articles and prepositions. So now you are also simultaneously, you have picked up the style, the writing style of the author. Is he too witty? Is he critical? Is he persuasive? What style of rhetoric he is using? Now with rhetoric is actually a term which was coined in the West by Aristotle, has written a book on rhetorics. Is the style of argumentation. I don't know if you've read Julius Caesar or not. So here is a character called Julius Caesar, who is basically a military general, and he's aspiring to kill the republic and establish a monarchy so that he can become the emperor. So his opponents, led by Julius Caesar's friend Brutus, they oppose his imperial ambition and they stab him to death. So Julius Caesar's friend, another friend, Antonio, he is totally upset and he is not able to condone the murder and he wants to wreak his revenge. But then he is surrounded by Brutus and his army. So he expresses his wish that if he could be present at the time of burial of Caesar, and he's granted that wish. So Antonio stands there while Caesar is being put in the grave. And then he's asked by Brutus if he has to share some sentiments or words with the crowd. So Antonio starts saying, this is a speech, which I recall it said something like, brothers, countrymen, so on and so forth. I have come here to bury Caesar and not to praise him. Now that is a very beautiful line. The first term that he uses is brothers and my countrymen. That denotes establishing a rapport, an emotional identification with the masses. But then he realizes that the mass is supporting the murder and he needs to sway them. And you cannot sway your opponent by establishing a difference. You need to build commonality, a common ground. And therefore, the next line of the rhetoric that he uses, he says, I've come here to bury Caesar and not to praise him. Again, he says it's a mundane task, just like the other rest of the crowd. They just come here to bury Caesar. And he doesn't want to praise. He doesn't want to recall the services that Caesar has rendered to the state or to the republic. And then subsequently, he recounts the virtues of Caesar as to how he defended, how he fought for his country, how he always upheld the rights of people. And slowly the crowd starts getting alienated, restless, and they are roused up against Brutus, and they think Brutus has committed a folly and Brutus is killed by the mob. So you need to understand, in the very first paragraph, the writing style will illustrate what kind of a rhetorical style the author uses. Is he critical? Is he persuasive? Or does he present a very balanced viewpoint? Then you need to identify some key words. Key words are like a revelation. Key words expose the inner dynamics of thought. It will expose the bias, the preference, the point of view. So you need to sense the keyword. This ability will get enhanced gradually if you start doing a lot of reading stuff. So I presume, since most of you are coming, the entire class seems to be coming from computer science or similarly allied engineering field, and 11 of you. So even if you buy 5 books each, you have a library of at least 55. So as a group, you can circulate those 55 books amongst yourself and have a framework that all these 55 books have to be read before the CAT exam by each one of us. And of course, if you do a backward calculation, you're hardly left with 4 months. So you have exactly 120 days. So you hardly get 48 hours to complete a book. So if you have a hands-on and you need to race ahead, a hands-on experience of finishing a book, say of 300 pages with let's say more than 1.5 lakh words, then I believe by the time you are into your 10th book reading exercise, you will have gained a proficiency in terms of speed and understanding 1000%. Now that may come, the individual cases will vary, will differ because of certain other factors like concentration, vocabulary strength, and a degree of familiarity with reading exercise. If you are a pretty good reader, maybe you'll gain it in the after first 1 week of exercise. If somebody is extremely poor in reading habits, that is another possibility. I assume some of you could be of that type. So maybe by 3rd or 4th week, you will your brain engine will rev up and will surge ahead. So within a month, those connections, those brain nerve connections, those synaptic nodes will be established, and that enmeshing of the brain wire will give a certain level of density with multiple interpretation, and all that will facilitate your understanding and speed. So I believe let's move to the first passage, although so let us look at what is being given here. Now this is just a single sentence as the first paragraph. And if you read this, what is your interpretation based on the input that I have provided? Can I get your response? See, it is just one single sentence, but it gives you a lot of insight.
What I understand from the first paragraph is seeing some, maybe the author seeing some casual or normal things, something struck his mind and he started thinking about something else. He started relating stuff.
Okay. Good. This is a superficial interpretation.
What I
See,
came to,
yeah.
what I came to understand is that as soon as the author walked in the bathroom, he was already having some thoughts of himself, and then when he saw the dental floss, it took off his mind.
Okay. See, there is a twist here. What he's saying is, I came across something in our bathroom. Now, of course, bathroom is always privacy. And he says, I came across something in our bedroom, in our bathroom. So there is a sense of anticipation and curiosity being built. And he has done a wonderful job that in 6 or 7 words, he has been able to successfully evoke that curiosity in the reader's mind as to what is going to happen next. And then he further quips and says that it has occupied his thoughts off and on. That means the thought has never left him. The thought comes repeatedly. And therefore, it has to be something very important. Of course, in bathrooms, we don't keep various items which require a lot of serious deliberation. It is not a place where you do a lot of intellectual gymnastics unless you visit the loo for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, unless you have a problem, right? So you wonder whether somebody in that particular 15 minutes time will come across some item which will require such a deep reflection, introspection, and thought. This again kind of is suggestive that this is quite a serious thing that you should be taking. So there is curiosity, anticipation, and at the same time he's trying to tell you that it is something very serious. And then you get the hang of the entire passage when it says it was a little dispenser of dental floss, such an insignificant article or item. And you are left amazed. So with curiosity there, coupled with the seriousness that the author is giving to that particular item. And when he is representing that item as a dispenser of dental floss, you literally fall from the sky on the hard ground of reality, and you wonder, what is this? I was expecting something serious, and out comes this small insignificant item. Now what is he going to evoke? He'll evoke some amount of humor. You're going to smile. Oh, the author has hoodwinked me. Well, what is his style? He does not reveal. He hides it, and then in the final summit moment, at the height, he's very frugal with words. He uses very few words, and with those few words, he is able to create magic. And he has taken you through a roller coaster of emotion. The emotion of curiosity, then a sober mood, and ends it with a humor. Now there are two possible routes that the author can take. Either he's going to maintain this wit at a humorous level in the subsequent paragraphs, or he can lift the discussion to esoteric, exotic, philosophical abstraction. That means he may keep it at a mundane level, at a humorous level throughout the passage. That is one approach that he can take. And he can narrate and give you a lot of such instances in our daily life. So he can maintain that sense of humor, and he can maintain the same style in the subsequent paragraphs. That is one possibility. Another stylistic variation that he can use or employ is that he has given you the basic premise, and then he will gradually connect the basic premise with other postulates and uplift the entire discussion to a higher level and connect successfully as to how very mundane things can have so much of philosophical meaning. So this is one way. And of course, if you look at the context, he's visiting the bathroom. It's a place where you relax. Now, of course, if you came to know that there was a snake which has been found in the bathroom and it has vanished, and you are the next person going to use this, I'm sure you'll be scared to death. You won't even be able to sit down properly because you're scared. There's suspense, there's a sense of threat, a thrill. So you have emotions of fear and you are afraid. So you're going to be doubly cautious. And you may not get the right bowel movement. So, what he says is that his serious thoughts and reflections are on the dispenser of dental floss. So what is there on the dispenser? That is one question that will come to your mind. what is so peculiar about that dispenser of a dental floss? Where is it its shape? Or is it the label or the logo or the color or the design? What is he serious about? What is it going to reflect? So of course, you now start exploring. So what he says is that it is not the floss. It is the container which has got some important item which is attracting his attention and which is the toll-free number printed on it. And it says that this number is accessible 24 hours. Then the next logical question is, why do you need to do that? Why do you need to keep that number available and accessible to customers 24/7? So what he underplays now, look at the last sentence of the paragraph. I keep imagining some guy calling up and saying in an anxious voice, okay, I got the floss, now what? Oh, again, so there is, his writing style is of wit, very witty. And the placement of the words, the sequence of the words that he uses is superb. As people say, brevity is the art of a very fertile mind. And this guy is quite brief and to the point. So what he says is that if you're going to call your floss provider for any damn reason, then probably you're not one who is practicing or who is orally proficient in maintaining oral hygiene. So he says, if you look at the next paragraph, that he finds that particular phenomena universal. All these household products are carrying a hotline number. They try to give you guidance on how to use very minor, insignificant items of our toiletry. And if you look at the bottom of the container, you have professional advice, medical advice as to where you should be applying these lotions or gels. So what he's saying is, and the real fun is, the real punch of humor is in the bracketed line. So let me get this straight. You're saying not on my forehead in the context of nail polish. So basically, all these information that are provided or furnished, it seems that the author is saying that the manufacturer kind of thinks that the consumer is a zombie. He's intellectually challenged. I think we can make this tentative understanding. So similarly, if you go ahead with the next paragraph, you can summarize in a similar fashion. And I believe this should suffice for, and you should be kind of checking your reading speed, you should have you should try and make a benchmark today by reading this particular passage and see like what is your speed, how many words can you crunch, so it will benchmark you. Don't get disappointed if your reading speed is say 80 words or 90 words per minute, because the real joy is in covering the journey, in traveling. And at the same time, there is a pragmatic goal. So I'll guide you through that goal, but at the same time, you need to continuously benchmark yourself. And how you can improve, I've already suggested, I've already advised, and I've told you, I've given you the rationale, and I've given you a technique of doing it. And of course, if you still need some advice, then you can get in touch with me. I don't mind. You can talk to the coordinator of this program and he can send in the queries to me. I can email or I can give it writing. So that will also be one channel. Or you can even, they can have a conference call and I can do it at a mutually convenient time. So feel free, because we as Phoenix Global, we want you to really excel and crack this exam so that we create a golden future for you. So that is why this particular exercise you need to do. So I can't do the entire passage for you. I've already told you how to go about it. So I've given you a roadmap. What I want you to do is do this exercise in this fashion for all the passages that are there in this particular installment. You write down on the margin commenting on one, the topic, critical keywords, author's style, and what main idea he is trying to convey in one particular paragraph. Write it on the margin corresponding to the paragraph that you have done. Now, what these kind of become dots on your graph, the reading material and your mind. And then you can plot the graph and see your understanding. And then based on that understanding, you look at the questions you attempt it, and if you've done extremely well, fantastic, congratulations. And if you have not done well, that reminds me incidentally of Amitabh Bachchan recalling his late father's advice, which was given to him when he was a young man, which in Hindi says, जब अपने मन का हो तो अच्छा है, और जब अपने मन का ना हो तो और भी अच्छा है. What he's saying is, if things happen according to your wish, according to your aspiration, it is good. But if things do not happen, they go against your expectation, your aspiration, that is the best thing that can happen to you. So what he's saying is, if you fail, it is the best guarantee that you are going to succeed, because you are going to work on it. Because you are not going to take it lying down. They're all capable, bright minds. And you can definitely take up the challenge and prove your might. And there is a very famous dialogue of Amitabh Bachchan which says, line वहीं से शुरू होती है जहां मैं खड़ा होता हूं. The line starts from where I stand. If you can display that attitude, that whatever be the combination of passages that come in that on that D day, I'll crack them with 100% accuracy within the permissible time limit, and I'll break the bar of excellence. I'll be super excellent. Now you have to keep that inspiration alive. And that you cannot do by just, by thinking or by getting stuck. You need to flog yourself. And you don't have to become a dead horse. You don't have to give in. You don't have to cave in. You don't have to surrender. At the same time, as I recommended, while reading any book, I have already prescribed that word is a combination of sound. Word has a certain limitation. Although word is the most versatile form of human interaction, yet we should be conscious enough that it has a certain limitation. For exact understanding and interpretation, knowing the meaning as well as the context in which that particular word has been used will serve your purpose better, and therefore that dovetails into the task of building a vocabulary. What I recommend is, and I have found it very useful, that people who honestly read different genres, different kind of books, spanning philosophy, psychology, economics, history, sociology, anthropology, art, culture, astronomy, any damn topic under the sun. What you're going to get is a domain-specific vocabulary that is called technical words that apply in that particular domain of knowledge. You become conversant, you become fluent. That increases your general knowledge and your awareness, apart from building your vocabulary. Then you come across difficult words. And the third benefit that each word has multiple meanings. So you will get synonyms and antonyms. If you work on them, if you work on 10 words and you look at 4 synonyms and 4 antonyms, at the end of the exercise you've got 80 words. And that's just going to take you about half an hour to 40 minutes. So if you consistently put in those 40 minutes without deviation, nobody in India can defeat you. And I'm saying this with experience. I've cracked CAT. I know how to become a 100% percentiler. So you're basically listening to from the horse's mouth. And what I'm laying down is the golden rule of success. Okay. Can you unmute? Because I think we are probably coming to the end of the session. I've already done this. So next session, what I'll do is, if you want, I can take up this discussion of the passages, they're solving the solutions and all. But the exercises that have been given is quite interesting. You have been asked to write a summary or the main idea. Let's see if you can. I don't know. Where is this? Yeah. So what you can do is, yes, if you look at this particular page, the 5th page of the 7-page booklet, it says write the summary of the passage. It asks you to record the time taken to read in terms of minutes, and then to calculate, because there are altogether 976 words. So if you read it in 3 minutes, so it will mean that, okay, it's about 350 words odd word per minute. Now there are other techniques of efficient reading, but this is the basic primary. So you need to benchmark yourself. So the task given to you is to write the summary of the passage, and I have told you how to do it. For each of the paragraphs corresponding to each paragraph, write down your observations regarding the main idea, regarding the author's style, and the central message that you are getting. So that will suffice. So yeah, the second question express the main idea of the passage. So once you have connected the dot, so what you get is a basic trend of the argumentation. And that becomes the main idea of the passage. So connecting the intervening dots, you get a trend of that particular graph of how ideas have made transition from idea 1 to idea 2, and so on and so forth. And finally you get the complete graph, and then you can say whether it is a hyperbolic graph or it is some other kind of a graph. And that will constitute your main idea of the passage. And you can express that main idea in, say, about 10 words or 12 words. You don't need more. If you have gone through the roadmap as I have described, you'll be able to do it. So the task that I'm giving you actually is to do this exercise for each of the passage, just the way I have asked you to do. And then share your feedback as to how this has improved your ability to comprehend things. Of course, exercising each of the advice that I have given you. Okay, can you unmute? I'm stopping the share here. Yeah, so please unmute. And can I get a feedback on the session? So can we start with somebody? Somebody? Hello?
Yes, Aditya, would you like to go first? Aditya, I'm audible? Okay, maybe.
Silent. Are they able to hear me?
Yes, we are able to hear. Maybe Aditya is on mute or something.
Okay.
Okay, apart from Aditya, if anyone wants to go, you can go.
Okay,
Yeah, Prerit. Yeah, Prerit, please go ahead.
Sir, what I thought was today, out of all the approaches and you kind of share your own view, like how we can go through the whole passage. Like the first paragraph will give you the basic context of how the author's style is gonna be. I think it might improve my how I start the reading the passage and how to answer the questions at last. Or it was kind of good.
Okay, and how do you rate the session out of 5? How much will you give me?
5 out of 5, definitely, sir.
Okay, Prerit, thank you. So can I have another participant also sharing his her mindset about her response? How has been the session for her or him?
Yes, yeah, Mandeep, please go ahead.
Can I share my views?
Yeah, Mandeep, you're very much
Yes,
welcome.
sir. Yes, sir. The session was really good, and I came to know how to read faster. And sure, I will practice from tomorrow. and I will do follow whatever the tips you have given for today. Thank
Manideep,
you so much.
Thank
Yes,
you very much. But nothing starts tomorrow. Tomorrow, in the long run, all of us are dead.
yes, exactly,
Right?
sir.
So what I will suggest is, beta, you start today. Bang
Sure,
on,
sir.
bang on. Okay.
Sure, sir.
If you don't have a book, find a free PDF of any book. It could be some classic of Leo Tolstoy. And I'm
Yes.
recommending philosophy, and because all of you seem to be coming from engineering background. So that is heavily recommended
Yes.
that you read history, you read culture, you read art, you read religion, you read spirituality. So that will develop a lot of inside the neurons will get all densely packed, and that will facilitate your understanding, uplift the understanding level. So I hope you'll start implementing it from today. Okay.
Sure, sir.
All the best for your journey.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Who else is there? I mean, Spandana.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So just about to unmute myself. So firstly, I love the Julius Caesar part that you just narrated. We had a chapter on Julius Caesar in our school days, and so I just
Okay.
remember that.
Okay.
And I'm a personal fan of Mark Antony's speech, actually.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
And then apart from that, like regarding the word limit that you were telling, I think some 350 words and on an average 350 to 400 words.
Yeah.
Does it like come abruptly to a beginner? Like I do read books. I don't like categorize them as such. Generally say more of personal development kind of books, the how-to guides kind of books I prefer.
Okay, because you're working as per the see
Yeah.
basically what is happening. It is all this is called light reading. You need to read a little bit of some stuff which is going to stretch your imagination or going to stretch your questioning mind, will make you inquisitive, and it will force you to push yourself. You need to pick up such reading, and therefore I mean I would recommend highly everyone, please read Bill Durant book of the story of philosophy or something like that. I'm not able to recall the title name. I read it almost 2 decades back. The history of world philosophy or something like that. So it has given a very beautiful account of Western philosophy, which includes Kant, which includes Marx, which includes Spinoza, Schopenhauer. तो बड़े मजेदार वो चीजें हैं, कभी कभी आपके साथ लेक्चर में आई विल शेयर इट विथ यू ऑल. I don't know, I mean I sometimes I switch over to English to Hindi. Are you comfortable with a bit of Hindi, or you feel discomfortable? I mean you're not comfortable with Hindi at all?
Definitely not. So most of us are from Hyderabad. So Hyderabad speaks both the languages. So
वो
all
तो
of
दक्षिणी हिंदी बोलते हैं, ठीक है.
yeah.
ठीक है, so no problem. So fine, thank you very much. So basically over the course I'll share some more insight gradually, okay, but at the moment what I'm recommending is please take a challenging assignment, and as
Sure.
I suggested a title, or you can even read Leo Tolstoy, any book. You will get a lot of free PDFs available on the net. I believe one book which really hit me very hard, it's not considered to be a classic book of Leo Tolstoy. He's celebrated more for his novel of War and Peace. But I was literally moved to tears when I read his book, The Resurrection. And it's a wonderful story. Can anybody take up the challenge to finish this book? This book is about 1200 pages. But can anybody take up the challenge to finish it in the next 2 days and give us the gist of the story on the third day when we have the next session on Friday?
Can you repeat the book names so that I'll put it in the group?
I just found,
Resurrection.
I found the link on Google. I can just forward it.
Yeah, please do that. I am not that tech savvy. I won't be able to give you the link. Okay, boys and girls. So I know that girls are smarter and boys will not lag behind. So in a gender equity world, I would say that both of you need to represent your elan, your capabilities, and shine through on Friday. I expect one of you to take up the challenge earnestly and try finishing that book and come out with your own conclusions about the book. I read that book almost 15 years back when I was, let's say, around 35 years of age. And I cried after reading the book. And it has touched my heart. So, and it has helped me to develop a certain philosophical bent of mind also. So, okay, thank you, Spandana. Would you like to say something on the interaction that we have? Do I need to improvise or need to improve somewhere? If you have something to suggest, please feel free.
Suggestions as of now, I don't think there is any, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Spandana. Thank you very much, Beta. And who is the next?
Sir Janvi again.
Oh, Janvi, wonderful.
Firstly, I would like to thank you so much for telling me what I might lack while doing my reading comprehensions. And it was actually a really nice session today.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just wanted to ask, what kind of books would you suggest me to read?
Yes. See, I have given you a universal suggestion right now, and Ashwik has told that he'll share that link, and I've repeated, told the title actually that you should read. So you also, Janvi, because as I said, my observation is that this group comprises of people from the hard domain actually, right? So they may be lacking in reading very the softer part of existence. And therefore my recommendation is that pick up things and titles which are not related to your professional life at all. And you will come across new technical terms, and you'll have to familiarize yourself. You'll have to look up in the dictionary. You'll have to connect with the idea. And similarly, your vocabulary will also pick up. Your understanding will also pick up. And finally, because as I told you in my discourse, I wanted to avoid that word, but now that you have asked me, that is called schemata. It's like a the kind of a what kind of a structure your brain has. So you are trying to change that structure so that you can absorb more, you can filter more information, and in different domains of knowledge. So my recommendation for you specifically is looking at the character of the group, that please, if you want, I can give another list of 20-25 books. The rest I'm asking you to pick up. I have recommended at least each one of you should try and strive exceedingly hard to finish at least 50 to 55 books before your CAT exam. And of course, I will make an interesting list. But it all depends how, if you don't show response, it will demotivate me. I will not persist then any further. But every session, I want somebody to take up the challenge and do a short summary of what he or she has read and what he or she has understood. And if somebody else has done the same reading, then I will want a debate. At least 5 minutes of sparring between the two. So it is wonderful, Janvi, and I'm looking forward to, and you know, I'm basically right now based in Ranchi, Jharkhand's capital. And Jharkhand was a part of Bihar, and Ganga is just hardly, let's say 360 kilometers away from here. So we are a hilly state, and Bihar is a plain state. So it was a combination of both geographies in one single state. But after bifurcation, Janvi, for your knowledge, I'm just sitting around 360 kilometers away from actual Ganga, and maybe I'm sitting around 1,000 kilometers away from you. So we are kind of making a triangle, and I hope Mother Goddess Ganga will bless your efforts.
Thank you so much.
And I will assist you to the best of my capability.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Thank you. Any more? Any further? Somebody would like to share something with me? Prerit.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thing which I personally, which I thought I have to start improvising is the perspective of reading the, what do you call, the paragraph, because I actually saw it because whenever I was reading any paragraphs, I become judgmental and I take sides like which is correct and which is wrong, which I shouldn't.
Yeah.
As you told, I have to start reading things with empathy.
Yeah.
Then only I'll understand the essence of the passage, and accordingly I can.
See, I'll tell you, Prerit, how it happens. No, once you start, you may look at it as a technique, but slowly it will become a cultivated habit with you. And the third spiritual benefit of this exercise of connecting with people and their ideas and their framework of thought or emotion will develop excellence in you as a human being and as in whatever roles you perform in the future. Apart from the intellectual benefit, apart from helping you to crack, you'll become an excellent leader also. Because a leader is empathetically able to connect with his people. So, developing a high level of skills in reading and understanding requires that you be in tune with the author and suspend your own personal judgment. And that's very difficult. If you have not been trained, if you have not been guided, you'll find it very difficult. And that is why this habit has persisted. But once you cultivate this habit to perfection, to a finesse, and to an art level, you become an artist. You will sing this song of Rhapsody with perfect score, 10 out of 10, like a gymnast. You'll bring an Olympic record. That's my guarantee. Because developing this psychological poise is extremely difficult. People start taking sides, and that is disruptive of understanding. Fine, Prerit, thank you very much. Please get along, and I wish you all the best. And wherever you need my help, I will be happy to extend.
Sure, sir. One more thing which I personally did was whenever you're speaking, so when in your speech, when you were saying, there were many words which, I was able to understand this, the situation, the sentence, but there are many new words which I was able to find, like retrosil, floss, finesse, poise, disambiguate, which I personally don't know this meaning. So I got a good bunch of meaning words for today, so that I can go back and know the meanings of and you start using these.
See, the idea, Prerit, is never to show off. Okay, the idea is to give you, try and cover as much as possible within a limited time. By throwing those words, I'm trying to be technically accurate, knowing very well that most of you may not know. So I'm trying to make you curious. That is the second. The third is I'm goading you, I'm pushing you to look for its meaning. So if you start doing this in my lectures, you'll find at least 10, 15 words coming to you per session, at least minimum. And if you can cultivate and develop that habit, you'll edge past your competition, man. I give you my word for this. So let's hope that, and you are quite a very perceptive mind. You were able to perceive that there are many words which are coming my way and which I don't know, and you are recalling them. I'm very happy. You are very attentive. So congratulations and wish you all the best. Further, anybody more? Aditya Sharma has joined or he's left. Trilok, where is Trilok? He's not given his feedback to me.
I guess he had some issues and left. Okay. Aditya, are you available? I don't know if he's still connected or not.
Okay. It seems that he's not connected.
Aditya is connected, but I think he has left.
Okay.
He's
fine.
kind of busy or something.
Okay. So I hope you will do that exercise with all the passages the way I've asked you to do. So that's my best wishes. Get on with your reading. Okay, all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.